Hello and welcome back to Big Discussions. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. I am the founder and the creator of this channel and the Big Words blog site. The link to my blog is in the banner for this channel. You can check it out. I have a lot of new stuff, a lot of cool new stuff coming out in print. So please go by and take a look at my social media for Twitter, for Facebook, and for Instagram are up there as well. So today is February 3rd. I'm sorry, it's March 3rd, 2019. It is the first Sunday of the month. So as you can see, I'm dressed a little bit differently this time. There's no T-shirt, and I think the subject matter here actually goes along with a little bit more of a formal appearance. I'm actually wearing this because I went to church this morning. I go to church sometimes. Let's see. First, I want to start this video off by shouting out a gentleman named Quad B. His YouTube channel is called Quad B, and we first met on Twitter. I think I posted something technology related, and he liked that. And so when I started this channel, so when I started this channel, I showed the second video, which has the most likes out of all my videos thus far. I showed it to someone, and she harangued me. I love that word, harangued. She harangued me about who my audience was, and you know, basically gave me a hard time about my channel. And then starting something new is not easy. It's kind of difficult because you don't know how people are going to receive it, and you don't know how it is going to come off. So there's always a little bit of fear and a little bit of apprehension in the beginning. But anyway, so shortly after I got interrogated by this other person, I reached out to Quad B, told him that I had a YouTube channel, and we follow each other on Twitter, and he subscribed to me. And I asked him, I said, hey, as a young content creator, from a young content creator to a more experienced one, what words of advice would you give me? And he said, just be yourself, and he said, the audience will find you. I'll say that again. He said, just be yourself, and the audience will find you. So I want to shout out Quad B for that. That was very encouraging, and to me, I just took that as just go with it, go in the direction in which you think, which is natural for you, and the people who are interested in that will ultimately find you. So that's what I'm going to do. So on the story of my blog, I talk about, if you go to my blog site, there's actually a page with the story for how I started the Big Words blog site, and I started all this stuff. So one person I acknowledge is a talk show host named Bruce Williams. Bruce Williams was an older, grandfatherly, at that time, white male, and I stumbled upon his show on AM radio when I was a graduate student at the University of Michigan. And if I could describe it, Bruce's show was an everything show. He talked a little bit about politics. He talked about money and finance. He talked about starting businesses. He talked some of his callers through family situations, such as when parents don't leave a will to their children. He pretty much, anything you want to talk to Bruce about, he knew it. He was very polite, very engaging, and for some people it might have been a dry show, but I loved it. So he's an influence of mine, and so my channel, again, it's going to have specific focuses. It's going to kind of at times be an everything channel where I'm going to address multiple things depending upon what's going on in the world and what's going on in my life at that particular time. So in terms of this video, who's the audience for? This is going to be pretty much for everybody, and as you'll see as I go on. So this week I was thinking about, I want to keep creating the content regularly so the channel grows. So please like, share, and subscribe to help me grow this channel. And thank you to everyone who subscribed thus far. So I want to continue to grow the channel. And I want to keep getting the content out pretty regularly. And so all week I was thinking about what should I tape this week? And I was tweeting on one of my two Twitter accounts. I actually have two Twitter accounts. The first one is my original, which has over 1,000 Twitter followers, and I have the other one, which is on the banner for this channel, which has a little over 300, and I made that one just for the blog. So I was tweeting over there on my first one to try to get the followers back up because I had left it dormant for a while. And it seems that Twitter, if you leave your Twitter accounts dormant, your followers will still steadily fall away. So I was over there tweeting on my initial Twitter account, and I just started thinking about leadership and career and jobs. The first principle of my blog is creating ecosystems of success, and two of the key focuses are education and career. So I started thinking about leadership. And so I'm going to start with something that we were all taught, I think, as young people, which is that to be a leader and not a follower. When I first heard that as a child, I thought that it just meant don't follow other people, have people follow you. And then as I realized, as I got older and I had certain experiences, and probably my first experience with this was on my high school basketball team, and I'm working on a writing project about that, which I'll talk about later. But I realized that, whenever it's a team activity, a sport, or if you're working in an organization, or you're working on a project, you're working on something with multiple people, you ultimately at some point have to decide whether or not you're going to stay on that team or if you're going to leave. And you can't do it because other people are leaving. You can't do it because other people are no longer passionate about whatever that thing is. But you have to figure out whether or not you want to stay. When I was on my high school basketball team, there were guys that were on the team with me my first year, and then by my senior year, they had gone. And so I watched peers walk away from our team, and I didn't know how to handle that at first, but I stayed. And later on I realized, okay, you have to stay because you want to stay, not because other people are leaving or because other people have their reasons for leaving. So Anwar, where are you going with this? Okay, so let's talk about career discussions. When you start your career, when you start a career, whatever that's in, whether it's the private sector, whether it's the public sector, whether it's in academia, you're gonna see people come and go. And I'll just say that at one point I was working at a certain place, and I was there for a while, and I saw a lot of people come and go. And that was for various reasons. In this particular instance, I think there were several personality conflicts. I think there were bruised egos. I think that there were misunderstandings. And particularly when you're dealing with scientists, and I'm going to talk about what it means to get a PhD later on, but particularly when you're dealing with scientists, particularly at the PhD level where I am, there is the potential for a lot of ego. For some people, getting a PhD creates almost a godlike complex, and things can be taken the wrong way at times. And so at this particular job, I saw a lot of peers leave and go to other jobs, and they didn't just leave. They continued to contact me and inquire about what was going on at that workplace, and some of them were still pretty bitter, pretty upset, and pretty scarred from what happened there. And some of them even questioned me in terms of why I was still there, and some of them actually at times tried to get me to leave. I thought back to my experience on my high school basketball team, and I again remembered that I have to listen to the voice inside of me, And I can't just up and leave someplace and stop doing what I'm doing because someone else wants me to, or someone else thinks that I should. So it's when you're thinking about your job and you're thinking about your career, it's very important to use what's called a weight of evidence approach. So what a weight of evidence approach is you're evaluating or weighing, let's say, 5 things as opposed to one. So, so a job isn't all about the money. A career isn't all about the money. Those things are, that's one of the drivers for getting in, but it's not all about the money all the time. And I believe that you have to think about the context of your whole life. Some questions you want to ask yourself. If you're at a point where you're thinking about leaving a particular job or career, is how much of your life is this job or career? For some people, their job is their entire life. For some people, it's just a part that they could deal with while they're doing some other things. What are the benefits like at that job? What's the schedule like? Do they allow you to work remotely? Do they allow you to work something like a compressed schedule? Do they allow you family leave time for an ailing parent or spouse or child? Does your job give you a good work-life balance? These are all things that, and do you enjoy your coworkers? And in some instances, is it close to your home? Do you have a nice short commute? These are all things to think about when you're thinking about leaving a job or a career or position for something else. And you have to be careful about leaving for something that really doesn't matter. Let's see. And so you also have to be careful of the things that people say to you, because people can poison you and poison your mind and sow discontent into your life. So in summary, you have to decide for you what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you have to make your own decisions for you, because in some instances the people who are trying to get you to leave or convince you to leave, they've made decisions for themselves. And the other thing is, when you stay and when they go, you're staying, it probably makes them question themselves and question why they left and question whether or not they did the right thing or the wrong thing. So workplaces are very complex places, especially when there are politics involved, and especially when you're getting into promotions and who gets promoted and who doesn't and why. That can all get very muddy, and it can be very tricky to keep a steady head. People are wired differently, so people respond to things differently. People have different thresholds for pain, and again, some people are ego-driven, and some people just kind of take things in stride and just don't worry about the little things. So all those things play into why some people are able to stay in certain stations and other people have to leave. I'm going to close by talking about something me and my graduate advisor discussed a couple years ago. I see him all the time when I go back to the University of Michigan for the homecoming games and whenever my department has something. And we sat in his office a couple years ago and we talked about my current career and his career and the research that he had going on in his lab. And he told me, he said, Anwar, he said, there's going to be a part of every job that you're not going to like. He says, it's going to be a part of every job that you're going to find unpleasant. So, wherever you go, there's going to be something. It's just, what can you deal with? In my first vlogcast, I talked about some other content creators that I follow, and that I look up to. One of them is Aaron Cleary, and who calls himself Captain Capitalism. And he's made several consultations to his followers about jobs. And one of the things he says is there's no perfect job. And again, there's always going to be something that you don't like. and there's always going to be something there, whether it's the people or the task, that's going to cause some displeasure. So that's just part of having a job, and that's just part of having a career. That's part of working for someone else, and that's part of working with other people. So it's just a matter of what you could deal with, and it's just a matter of what your needs are. And in summary, just make decisions for yourself, and don't let other people talk you into making life-changing decisions in your life based upon what happened with them in their lives. So that goes back to you being a leader, not a follower. Listen to your own voice, chart your own path, and hopefully you will find happiness or some level of contentment. And with that, I will conclude this video. I think this was my first video about career discussions. There will be more, and I'll probably leave some materials of in the description box, and I may create a written version of this at some point. So with that, I will sign off, and I will see you next time. All right, bye bye.